Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at Vinci watercolors, which are made in the USA, and they are extremely affordable if you live in the United States. They even have really large tubes. This is my tropical palette, and we're going to be swatching these out today, taking a look, giving my opinions on Vinci Paint Company, and just having a little bit of fun with some color. Stay tuned. I got the chart all ready. We're going to be using my Escoda 8 Perla, which I've been really having a lot of fun with my swatches with. This paintbrush is excellent. They seem to have gotten more expensive though recently compared to when I purchased this one. And we have a little bit of a wonky chart today. Don't know what was up with my tape job, but we're gonna just go with it. The boxes are a little off, and we'll see what we get when we take a look. So we'll zoom on in a little bit and start our swatching. And our first up is Naphthol PR 170. These paints wet like a dream. They are very good quality for an affordable price. And they have these extremely large tubes as well. So if you go through a color a lot, it might be worth your while to take a look at Vinci. Algerian Crimson, PV 19. I so wish I was better at pronouncing names in general. A little hair there. Especially if you're new to watercolor, these might be a great route to go. They have lots of palettes. I originally started with the Paul Jackson's palette, so you'll notice some of the names are a little unusual in here, and they're only available in the Paul Jackson's palette. But if you look at the pigment numbers, they have lots of them that are named their regular names as well. I added a few colors to this palette. PV 179 Perylene Maroon. Sorry about all my pronunciations. Sometimes my tongue is a little more tongue-tied than others. And we have a few specialty colors in here, like Denise's green and Joyce's green. So you can see those right next to each other if you were curious about those. Quin Fuchsia, PR 202. Very pretty. Rockstar, and this is one of those specialty names that is only in that Paul Jackson's palette, PR 122. This color tends to kind of get blown out. I've seen some light fast tests done though, and it's not as futile as fun color to work with. Very bright. I hope it's showing up on camera correctly. Portrait Pink, PW6, PB29, PV19. I tried to make this chart like my little palette, which I tend to try and do, but like I said, it got a little wonky on me. That's a pretty color. Let's move on over. And if you see the wide ones, those are because I have a full pan in there. Cabaret, PV19. I noticed that if you get their pans, like their pre-poured pans, which they do pour them themselves and not just off a conveyor belt and cut the long and insert it into a pan, they actually fill these pans. They tend to be more square and they're not exactly like a standard pan. So you'll only be able to get like the 12 across. You won't be able to get the 13 that in some palettes you can kind of squeeze in. Here, let me show you what I mean. See, they're a little fatter and a little longer. So you can usually only get 12 in a row rather than like 13 when you can squish in a few extra pans in a palette. Aubergine, PB29, PV19. Very pretty. Deep Purple, PV23. His palette, Paul Jackson's palette, which they still have on there, tends to be some kind of wilder colors. They're not, it's not really your traditional palette. But of course I can't leave anything alone, so kind of changed it up to my own thing. That color gets extremely deep. Joyce's Violet, PV19, PB15, PB33. This color is gorgeous. Really pretty. If you like your purples, this is definitely a winner one to add. It's very different. Very pretty. Lavender, PW6, PV15. And I'd say this one is just as good, if not better, than the Daniel Smith one. I really like this lavender. And it's a little more affordable. And of course, I can't keep anything in the lines. Now we go down to one of those specialty colors again. Jackson's Blue, PB28, PV23. This color is really gorgeous. Very pretty and very rich. Ultra Dream, which is basically just your ultramarine, PB29. This palette just like to put a spin on a couple of the names. Sorry for the camera shake. I try to be really, but I have to kind of work around my camera a little bit. And sometimes it gets a little jiggly. Very pretty, very rich. Ocean, PB15. Very vibrant. Deep Blue, PB27, PV19. If you were ever looking into Da Vinci, I hope this video helps you pick out some colors or gives you a direction. Bora Bora. PB16. Nice and bright. Beautiful. Cobalt Turquoise. And I have to say this is one of my favorite turquoises. It tends to be a lot more affordable than some of the other brands. And it is just as vibrant and beautiful as any of them. PB36. Gorgeous. Envy, PG7. Let's just bump this over a little bit. Getting into the greens now. I hope these videos are making a good reference for you. And I will be adding some more demos to videos in the very near. A few of my swatching videos do have demos or show some artwork to go along with it. Perling Green, PBK31. Nice and dark. Denise's green, PY 129, PB 60. And this is a glorious green. She has a channel on YouTube I'm sure you're familiar with. Denise Soden is her name, and she has In Living Color. Beautiful. And then we have Joyce's green right next to, so if you were ever wondering what they look like next to each other. And PG7, PBR7, and PY42. And Joyce also has a YouTube channel. That is much more earthy. And then to round this length off on the greens here, we have Davies Gray, PW6, PBK6, and PG7. And this is the best Davies Gray I think I have. It re-wets the most easy and or the easiest. I can speak today. And the color on it is just really nice. It does have a little opacity to it from the white in it. Oh, we have one more green, leaf green. PG7, PY65. And I know this little spot here is kind of wonky. My tape job is very wonky. I do have a few more Da Vinci paints that are not in this tin. And I have a video up. I had made my own opacity palette, which is in this tin. And let me see if I can just zoom out for a second. And so if you're interested in the opacity palette, I will leave a card towards the end of the video, and that might be of interest to you. And now we go on to Masters Yellow. And this one is PY35 and PY43. This has a very Naples kind of feel to it. A little bit of opacity. Electric Yellow, PY, I cannot even read my writing, 35. For a second there I thought it said 85. And it is very bright. It's nice. Da Vinci does put all its pigments like right on the list. So if you're looking for something specific, it makes it really easy to go ahead and find what you're looking for and know exactly what's in it. Marigold, PY65. It's going to be your orangier yellow. Sienna Fire, PO62. And this is a bright one. Lots of oranges and yellows in this palette. I think tropical name fits it. I'm using hot press paper, although a lot of these don't granulate too much. It's not really a granulating palette. Some of them do have a little bit of texture. This is Saunders Waterford hot pressed. Pretty color, very vibrant. Let's see if we can bump this over just a little bit. All right, and we go to Intel Orange. This has a little bit more red to it than the last, or a little bit more on the redder side of orange. PO73. Very transparent. Fireball, PR188, PY65. This one's a little bit more red than the last. They're pretty close. Lovely. Violet Iron Oxide, PR101. There's just something about a violet iron oxide. The combination of like the feeling of the violet mixed with kind of a browny feel to it. Really like it. Cowbell, PR101. It's a beautiful kind of sienna feeling color. And Burnt Umber is our last stop, PBR7. I think for some of these classic pigments, Da Vinci is really a great way to go. especially if you use a lot of it. Perfect. Let's zoom out, take a look at them wet. And we'll wait for those to dry and see what they look like up close, and see if there's anything that you like there. All right, I got the tape off for us. Fortunately, it doesn't look as wonky once the tape's off. So let's have a closer look and see if it focuses for us. I hope this gives you a good comparison if you are interested in one of the greens, especially seeing like Denise's green next to Joyce's. And there are a few specialty colors in that other palette that I mentioned, my opacity palette that I made. And I'll put that link up so that if you're interested in seeing some more Da Vinci colors as well as some other, it's a mixed palette. And there we go. I'll bring this in with my little chart, and that way my chart here matches this. So when we go ahead and do the battle of the colors, it'll be a lot easier for me to find my references and pick out the colors. We're going to be battling the colors, greens against greens and ultramarines against ultramarines, and see which one you're going to vote on them and see which one wins out of all the palettes that I have. I think I have about 4 more palettes to go, and then I've showed you my whole collection. We've swatched them all out, and then we'll pluck and play and vote on what we think is the best for the best price, and have a little fun with it. I really appreciate you sticking with me through this video today, and I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.